Good evening, good morning if you are in another part of the world, or good afternoon. Hopefully, it's not past bedtime and that you are not in New Zealand or somewhere. Thank you very much for joining us today. Um, 3 more days to go after today in this marathon 40-day journey of meditation. And once again, congratulations to all those who are persistently continuing on this path. And I welcome you all to a very beautiful topic today: usefulness of uselessness. And we will not spend too much time talking, but we will first hear what Lao Tzu says. This is one of again, every verse is so beautiful. So I shared the 6th verse with you, the 76th verse with you. Today I'm sharing the 11th verse with you. And it brought so much meaning for many of us, and we just absorb this verse first. I will read it out for us like always, and then we will go into meditation after just a brief conversation. Only about 10 minutes of talking, 40 minutes plus of meditation. That is our goal. And even more than me talking, it's for us to just absorb this. So I'm going to share my screen. If you can confirm that you can see. Once again, our gratitude to the great master Lao Tzu for channeling this wisdom for us and then sharing this wisdom, and to the great master Dr. Wayne Dyer for actually interpreting and translating it through his book, the Tao Te Ching. Very beautifully, Dr. Wayne Dyer has articulated through a review of many translations of the Tao Te Ching, which actually created out of hundreds of Chinese characters. So here's the 11th verse. You can all close your eyes and absorb it, or you can read with me, just soaking in every word. Lao Tzu can never be understood. He has to be absorbed. It's like it grows on us every time we look at his writing and his teaching. So he says, 30 spokes converge upon a single hub. It is on the hole in the center that the use of the cart hinges. Shape clay into a vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. Carve fine doors and windows, but the room is useful in its emptiness. The usefulness of what is depends on what is not. Once again, we'll read it one more time and fully soak it. 30 spokes converge upon a single hub. It is on the hole in the center that the use of the cart hinges. Shape clay into a vessel. It is the space within that makes it useful. Carve fine doors and windows, but the room is useful in its emptiness. Doesn't matter how much furniture. If you pack your room with furniture, it becomes a go down. You can't live in it. If your bedroom, we put only beds and fill it up with mattresses and furniture, or your living room, and there's no space to move, then that room is of no consequence. So the room is useful in its emptiness. The usefulness of what is depends on what is not. And it is so beautiful, my dear friends. In our house, in our living room, I always tell mostly my wife and I, we agree on everything. But sometimes, even if she talks about bringing one more chair in the living room, I said, no. I want it should be open. There has to be space. I can see many of us are sitting in a room. Imagine if there was a cupboard that was visible on the screen here with me, and another door that was, if we took away all the space, the emptiness, we simply would not, the room would not be this space that we can occupy. And what a myth we were taught in our childhoods. Do you remember this expression from school? An empty mind is a devil's workshop. How many of you remember this? An empty mind is a devil's workshop. We were taught in school, actually, this that you should always be busy, you should always be doing something, don't sit idle. And actually, all of us are practicing to, trying to empty our mind in this whole journey of meditation. Because that emptiness, Rohitji, we will take questions and ask you to share towards the end after the meditation. So maybe you can raise your hand at that time, Rohit Guleji. Thank you. So my dear friends, we have also filled ourselves, like sometimes we fill our houses with a lot of things. We have filled our lives also with a lot of things. And there is a certain beauty to the emptiness, to the space. We filled our lives with all the education that we have, our experiences, our emotions, the incidents we have lived, our likes, our dislikes. And the room is so full. At work, the worries and the anxieties in our relationships. And we really today are going to practice a meditation where we will create some space and really emptiness. And, like the clay that turns into a vessel, that emptiness is what makes it useful. So we need not follow the myth that an empty, the empty mind is devil's workshop. We are actually going to empty ourselves so that we can create space for the new. I had shared my story as always a go-getter, always wanting to occupy myself by doing something. And when I started meditating, what I realized was that I was, it was a state of non-doing where I was emptying myself. And through that, there was a lot of things I was able to create. That emptiness is actually allowing for miraculous creations to happen. What I was able to do in 10 hours, I was then able to do in 2 hours or 3 hours. 20 minutes of meditation is as much as about 2 hours or 3 hours of sleep. If you get deep meditative states for 20, 30 minutes, it can compensate. A lot of people, meditators, can get away with very little sleep many times, because they are able to energize themselves. So when we are talking about these teachings, when we talk about this emptiness, it is very, very productive. A lot of times we are told, oh, why are you not doing something? And so we are going to do this. And today, dear friends, we will actually do meditation without any music. So I want you today, and I'm going to give some guidance for this. I want you to actually watch the space between the incoming and outgoing breath. So up until yesterday, and we are still practicing watching the incoming and outgoing breath, but we will closely watch the gap between the incoming and outgoing breath. And whenever I am giving instructions, we watch the silence between those instructions. So we watch that which is not, when there are no words, when you aren't breathing in or you're breathing out, that gap between breathing in and breathing out, when the breath is inside or when, you are fully exhaled, that gap, we watch that gap. So today we'll do this practice. And, I will give you the instructions as we go along, but we are going to essentially go into this crystal chamber in meditation. So after we go through this initial few minutes of Anapanasati, watching the breath, watching the space between the breath, I will guide you into a crystal chamber, and you will have different, doors that you can go in, different areas of your life, your relationships, your work life. If you're a homemaker or a housewife, your home becomes your work. All day you work there, and your own self. And we will go into these rooms and see what is occupying the space in this room. Are you with me, everybody? I will give you the guidance, but we will see what is occupying the space in our relationships. What is occupying the space in our work? What is occupying the space in the room, which is our own self? And we will create some, we'll empty that a little bit. We'll create, we'll surrender that, some of those worries, the anxieties at work, some of the envy, the anger in relationships, resentment, we'll surrender that to light. So, and then we come back with some, affirmations, etc. Does that sound like a good plan for the meditation? Are we ready to get into meditation? Wonderful, wonderful. So without music today, and my dear friends, I do have a, slightly, whenever my wife, Dr. Preeti, does meditation, I feel so nice. And I have a slightly husky voice, so I try to be as soft as possible. If I got feedback yesterday that you're not able to hear me, generally it is not the case. So if you're not hearing me, just make sure your microphone or your speaker is on full volume, and we'll begin, my dear friends. So take a comfortable posture. You can cross your hands, put them in your lap, cross your legs, close your eyes. If you're wearing spectacles, please remove them. You need to shut the door and be undisturbed for some time. If you can keep your camera on, it gives me an energetically, we remain connected. And we can bring our attention to our breath. Start with 3 long, deep breaths. Getting ready, preparing yourself to be with your best friend, your breath. This friend that came into your life when you were born, just preparing yourself. You can now continue with your natural, normal breathing pattern. Become aware of the incoming and outgoing breath. So becoming aware of the space, the gap between your in-breath and out-breath. Just watching the breath. Watching this gap, this space between the incoming and outgoing breath. If there are some thoughts coming to you, watch them come and go. And watch the gap between these thoughts. How long? What is this gap? Watching the gap, watching your breath. Becoming more and more aware of this gap between your breath. Embracing the silence between the words that I speak. Just being in this silent space, being in this emptiness. This gap, this emptiness, this silence is the most useful, is the most insightful. This gap, this emptiness, this silence is the most transformational. Listen to the silence between the words. Watch as this silence deepens and deepens further and further. Every incoming and outgoing breath. Listening to the silence. Listening to the one hand clap, the divine sound in the silence, the Brahmanath. Watch this gap. It gets deeper and longer, deeper and longer. Becoming more and more silent. Watching your breath. doors. Aware. This emptiness, this silence is the source of creation. Now, I want you to visualize yourself in this beautiful, large crystal chamber. It's a beautiful healing chamber. Visualize yourself inside. Just walking through the door into this crystal chamber. Just filled with natural light. You can visualize any color of your choice of this chamber. Slowly as you walk in, just enjoy the beauty of this beautiful healing space that is filled with natural light. As you walk into this chamber, so aware, so present, you see 3 different doors in front of you. Doors that lead into a room. Each door leading into a room in this chamber. As you enter one of these doors, you will find on the other side in the room all that you need to empty, what you need to let go to create more space in that room. Slowly you walk towards the first room, which has the space occupied by all the relationships in your life. You enter this room and feel, observe what fills the relationships in your life. What is taking away all the extra space in this room of relationships with your family, with your friends? It could be hatred. What is taking away this extra space? It could be resentment. It could be anger. Look at all your different relationships. And see how much space is taken away by all of these relationships, all of these emotions. Now, I want you to surrender some of this unwanted furniture, some of these unwanted emotions, this resentment, this anger, this hatred, this envy. Just surrender this to the light, this beautiful natural light. So we can clear the space in this room. This room of relationships. We can clear the space for new possibilities, for new furniture. We can clear the space of all that is unnecessary. Having done this, having cleared the space in this room of relationships, you are now getting ready to come out back into the main area of this crystal chamber. And you now get ready to enter the second door. This second room that you are entering now is the room of your workplace, or if you work all day at home, that is the workplace. Check out this space. What occupies this room? What occupies your workspace? Is there unnecessary worry, insecurity, any anxieties, fears? What happens in this space where you work? Is there a lack of trust? What are the things that occupy this space? Become present to it. Now you can allow this beautiful natural light coming through this crystal chamber to clear this space, surrender some of these frustrations, the worry, the anxiety, the stress, the fears, and surrender it to the light. You have made space for the new in your work. Having done that, you can now come back out of this room and get ready to enter the third room. You walk into this third room, which is your relationship with your own self. What is your relationship with your own self? What is the space occupied with? Do you love yourself? Is there love in that space? If not, is there self-doubt? Is there a lot of self-judgment? Low self-esteem? Do you question your worth? What is your relationship with yourself? Remember, every other relationship we have is a mirror also of our relationship with our own self. The way we treat other people is the way we treat ourselves. How do you treat yourself? What occupies this room? Do you feel guilty when you rest? Do you judge yourself? What beliefs do you hold about yourself? What are those habits in this space? Those habits that are self-sabotaging, those patterns that are not loving, that are not healthy. I want you to surrender all of this. All this unnecessary stuff that is occupying the space in this room, that is taking away your energy, that is taking away your time. Surrender it to this beautiful natural light. Empty this room. Making space for a new relationship with your own self. Feeling so empty, so light, you can now walk out of this room slowly back out in the main chamber, crystal chamber. Keep walking out of the main door of this chamber. Standing in a place of nature under the sky. Allowing all the insights to come to you. Fully integrating this cleaning up exercise. You did a lot of cleaning, just integrating this entire exercise. Fully embracing the space that you have created in your relationships with other people, in your work, and in your relationship with your own self. Embracing this emptiness, Bring your attention back to your breath. With every incoming and outgoing breath, you fully integrate feeling so energized, so light, with so much space created for the new. We're getting ready to come back. Ten, 9, 8. Slowly, staying with your breath. 7, 6, 5. 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. We can rub our palms and cup our eyes. Welcome back, dear friends. Thank you for all the comments, dear friends. Wonderful. I had noticed Rohit ji had raised his hand at the beginning of the session. So first we can, Rohit ji, are you here? Can you raise your hand? Can you come on camera?
I'm unable to find him, Ganesh.
Okay. Maybe he can raise his hand if he's here. Yes, Charu, good evening, welcome. Please unmute yourself. You can share your question.
Sir, first of all, thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. I actually wanted to share how important and how crucial this was to me for today. Because until I reached the third room, I did a lot of cleaning in the first and second, but until I reached the third room, I've been having this question for the last few days of what is the sheath between me and the real me. And that's one thing I've been really trying to understand, peeling every layer of mine. So the arrogance is not about being angry or being rude, but it's also about not accepting your silliness, not accepting the innocence, sometimes not accepting the ignorance. So these things are what I saw when I entered the third room. I was afraid to hug myself. I was afraid to see myself. I was feeling like I'm just around the corner, not able to embrace my own self. So the first thing I wanted to do is I just wanted to hug myself. I could see a counterpart of me, just like me on the other side, and I invited myself to hug. And the moment I did that, I was seeing how much I was judging, how much I was fearful of my own thoughts, how much of transparency I lacked to myself. And judging every little thing really doesn't help you being transparent to yourself. And that's exactly what I've been mirroring in the first and the second rooms. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. It really made a difference to actually go to the third room by the end, because then I realized why these things were happening in the first and the second room. So entering into the third room gave a lot of clarity. And that guidance was so powerful to me because I could visualize every little thing. So humble gratitude to you, sir. Thank you so much for leading through us through this.
Thank you, Charuji. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you so much.
sharing. Kamalji ji, please go ahead if you have a question you'd like to share.
Namaste, Ganesh.
Namaste.
I so wish I could be like this forever to you all masters with folded hands, both down, for such great, wonderful, beyond explanation experiences for the last, I don't know, I don't want to keep a count on that. So beautiful. I don't know, maybe as destiny would have it, I've been doing a lot of cleaning since morning in my house, and I made a lot of space, and this turned out to be a surprise for me. And the three rooms that I went to, I had actually done the mopping in all three rooms. It's all empty, and I'm ready to welcome the new surprises, and I'm ready to look forward to the manifestations that Lord Almighty has for me. So thank you so much. Credit to all the masters. Thank you so much. Thank you. Loved it.
Pleasure. Thank you, Kamalji ji. Thank you for sharing. And so beautiful. You have been cleaning your house since morning today,
Yes.
and today you cleaned so many other spaces. It's wonderful.
I know, and I'm a great believer of minimalism as well. So I try to keep it as less as possible, as many few things in my head, in my heart, in my home. But I end up accumulating a lot of things. So I think this was required somewhere, and it is to balance out everything. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you. Malaji, please go ahead. Your question you'd like to share.
Namaste, namaste. You took us into the world of bliss today. What a wonderful meditation it was. First, I went into the crystal chamber. It was such a beautiful chamber, full of pink light. I could see the real heart chakra lotus in that crystal chamber that you led us to. I was feeling very joyous, very happy. And then you took us into the first room. Maybe it was my home room. And there I saw a mixture of colors, slightly little darkish and then a violet color. And I was trying to look around everywhere, but mainly these colors were occupying me. So the more I penetrated and penetrated, all the darkness went away and it was full violet. And then I imagined, I felt that I'm taking out all the negatives about me and throwing it out making this room a beautiful violet room, a good healing room, a beautiful place in my house. The second room that you took us to was, I think, relationships. I'm not very sure because I was in the
Work. Work. First one was
Oh, the
relationship.
first one was relationship, yes. Then the second one was work. Work, I saw bluish violet color light, not much of a negative feeling. It was nice and smooth, and whatever little here and there, some memories that came up to me, that also I threw it out, and it was such a wonderful light blue, beautiful feeling. Then the third one was what was that third room?
Yourself, your
Myself,
relationship with
yes.
your own self.
Myself. In that room, I could see lot of violet and dark light again. So I really did a lot of cleaning, and I was really, visualizing myself throwing out all the negatives out of me, and praying that I should be as perfect and pure like the crystal I saw in the first room, pink room. Slowly, all that was going out and vanishing, and it became a golden light in the process.
Thank you. Thank you
It
for
was
sharing, and thank
very
you all the dear friends for sharing in the chat box as well. Thank you. Shravya, you will be the last one for today. Please go ahead and share your question or your experience.
Namaste.
Namaste, Shravya.
Firstly, I must thank you for taking us such deep down meditation. We actually, every one of us need an experience like this to empty our minds and to declutter ourselves, because we are always in the chase of seekers rather than just emptying ourselves or being such like sitting idle or doing nothing. Because even though we take rest, we think that we catch mobile phones and then we think that we are actually taking rest, but we aren't. We are not staying calm at any point of time. So today's meditation has actually made me acknowledge the emptiness which is there, but it's not just acknowledged every time. But today after the meditation, it's just so beautiful, and I feel so energized, and it's very happy and nice to just understand what are the feelings inside me and to just acknowledge myself. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, Shravya. Thank you. Well done. You have done it yourself. Dr. Newton always says we are our own masters. Our breath is our master. We just have to, find all that we are seeking is within us. So the only way out is in. And so you went in and you found some joy. And the more we go in, the more joy we find. So we have to continue on this journey inward. While we do all the things we have to do outside, we have to continue to go inside and continue to be in silence and continue to empty the mind. An empty mind is not devil's workshop. Empty mind is a beautiful space. It's a magical space, a space that we should all be uh, looking to create so that we can create new in our lives. So we wish you all health, joy, happiness. The more we meditate, the more we go inward, the better things get. We have 2 more days, 2 more wonderful topics that I will facilitate, and then the most beautiful part will be when Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi join us on the last day. So get some rest, dear friends, and we will see you again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Thank you so much. Thank you.